Welcome, foolish mortals, to another episode of the HitchHiking Hosts Show 101. I am your host, your ghost host, Wes Truth, and I'm back this week with another history episode. And this week we're going to continue back in 1955's Disneyland, where we're going to talk about one of the most popular Tomorrowland exhibits around that time. You better get your swimsuits ready, because I've got a whale of a tale to tell you lads. A whale of a tale or two. That's right, because we're going to talk about the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea exhibit, as well over in Disneyland Paris, their version, Les Mysteres Du Nautilus. Let's do this thing. When Disneyland was getting ready for its grand opening, the land that was in the worst shape was Tomorrowland. The land had to be mostly filled with exhibits instead of exciting rides. The exhibits were never meant to last long, or at least just stay there until something more exciting could be built to replace them. One of the exhibits that became a favorite of park guests was the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea exhibit. With less than a month before Disneyland opened, Walt Disney and Imagineers thought an exhibit based on the hit 1954 film of the same name would be a good space filler and provide a change of pace among the other mostly space-oriented exhibits. The exhibit would include sets, original decors, props, and miniatures from the movie, and would be showcased in a walk-through attraction. The 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea exhibit opened in Tomorrowland at Disneyland on August 3, 1955. It was located in the rear of Tomorrowland near the Monsanto Hall of Chemistry. The exhibit cost an A ticket, or 10 cents to enter. After guests were inside the building, they would walk through the exhibits in a counterclockwise fashion. The first item you would come across was a model of the Golden Arrow. The first decor you'd enter was that of the Nautilus wheelhouse, where the submarine was steered by looking through viewing ports on either side of the wheel. You could get a good look at both the bridge control station and the viewport. Next up was the chart room, where Captain Nemo plotted the course, which included a bookshelf, a desk, and other assorted gears and items. You then passed by Professor Aronnax's cabin, where he wrote his memoirs. The room included a chair, small desk attached to the wall, drawers, and a bed. The next set was the salon, where a highlight was Captain Nemo's organ, which we'll talk about again in a little bit. Another huge thrill you could see if you looked through the starboard viewing port was the giant squid that was used in the movie. The salon also contained Captain Nemo's extensive library. In the next corridor, you could see the pump room, which included more of the submarine's mechanisms, the diving chamber and equipment room, which was full of diving suits and helmets, and the power compartment. In the very middle of the exhibit stood a giant model of the Nautilus, known as the last resting place of the Nautilus. Right before leaving the exhibit was an 11-foot model of the Nautilus that was used in the film, along with Peter Ellenshaw's painting of Vulcania. The 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea exhibit stood in Tomorrowland for an impressive 11 years, but called it a day in August of 1966 to make way for new experiences. The exhibit space, along with the Hall of Chemistry, would become Adventures Through Inner Space, which, one day we'll get to that. Sometime in the future. Today you can find Star Tours in the space where the exhibit used to be. Some parts of the exhibit set found their way to Disney's MGM Studios Park when it opened in Florida in 1989. The most famous item from the exhibit, though, Captain Nemo's organ, sits in Disneyland's Haunted Mansion Ballroom and can be seen being played by one of the 999 Happy Haunts. A version of the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea exhibit can still be found today over at Disneyland Paris in the walk-through attraction Les Mysteres Du Nautilus, which opened on July 4th, 1994. Found over in Discoveryland, a large model of the Nautilus sits in a small lagoon to greet visitors. You then enter the exhibit by walking through corridors which supposedly take you underwater. This exhibit is similar to the original, but most of the set pieces for this exhibit were reconstructed. One of the big differences, though, is an audio-animatronic version of the squid, which some call the Kraken. Release the Kraken, that attacks the Nautilus. The 6 rooms visited in this version are the ballast compartment, which contains an open safe at the center. Inside the safe is Nemo's treasure he's gathered from his explorations. Ned Land's guitar from the movie is also visible among the coins. Next up is Captain Nemo's room, where we see his cabin, with a bed and a bathroom, including the captain's belongings and his collections of books and paintings. The charts room is the hub of the Nautilus, with the staircases ascending to the wheelhouse and the main deck above, which can't be visited, so don't try. Several charts are displayed, including one representing Vulcania Island. The diving chamber, complete with suits and helmets, can be visited. The salon, of course we're familiar with, where books, artifacts, and numerous treasures of the sea can be found. The captain's organ stands on the far side, and guests can see Nemo's reflection when staring at the mirror just above the keys. This is also where the squid attacks. The creature is later repulsed by an electric zap. And finally, the engine room, where machines and engines powering the propellers can be found, along with the power unit on the opposite wall, complete with smoke effects. While no longer at Disneyland, Disneyland Paris' version is a nice tribute to the extinct attraction and the film that it inspired. Alright, well that's the show. I'll be back with another history episode very soon, and of course you can check back at the beginning of this week for another Hitchhiking Host Show Trending Topic Show. But until then, don't forget to subscribe right here on YouTube. YouTube.com/HitchHostShow. You can like the show on Facebook, Facebook.com/HitchHostShow. Follow on the Twitter and the Instagram at HitchHostShow. And of course, if you're listening to the show or you want to listen to the show, you can do so on Podbean. It's HitchHostShow.podbean.com. And of course, you can search for the show on iTunes or Stitcher under West Troop or the Hitchhiking Host Show. Until next time, don't forget to
hurry back for the next episode. See ya.